All right, well, folks, Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be your sit rep for Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. coming to you from the great state of Texas. So, without further ado, let me hop over here to our main board. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and bell for notification as I get over here to our board. Now, currently up, let's see here what our number is looking at. About 119 right now, which is, it's evening. Things start to kind of, wind down after the end of the day. Now, earlier today, I think we were up around 300 and some change, which is a little higher than usual. One thing that did pop up as we started to kind of look at the board and was getting ready for the sit rep was I noticed a whole sea of C-130s start to take into the air. Now, I don't know if we've got like a little mini surge going here, but we'll watch it over the next half an hour and see if anything changes. I also noticed we had all of a sudden a whole bunch of helicopters pop up. As you can see here on the East Coast, pretty chock full of helicopters. So, and some of those look like that's a H-53, and that's an Osprey, V-22 Osprey. And then up here in the Northeast, we've got quite a few kind of stacked up there. So, it'll be interesting. We'll just kind of keep our eye on that throughout this sit rep and see if we get more in the air. But this is a multi-ship right here headed, look like they came out of California. And one's headed northbound, and these others are headed westbound. Eastbound. There we go. And so we'll look at these in a little more detail. And then had some stuff pop up down here over Florida too, just recently. So again, this is only military aircraft, and typically we see about 10% of what is up. So just kind of from a data point perspective. 10% of the military aircraft. Now, we do have our normal 3 sentries out here over kind of the Texas region. If you notice, this is kind of up in the Panhandle area, and then one over North Central, and then this other one here. Those have been doing a lot of work down here on the border, which is as I refer to as the Mendoza Diagonal. And so and then this little -8 right here is one of your spy birds. So just as an FYI, that's that RO6 Alpha spy bird right there along. You can see him running the little route there. So we'll see where he goes to when we're all finished. But yeah, and I'm watching for a surge. I for some reason just feel like we're on the brink of something here. I don't know what it is, but we'll watch for the surge now. If those that remember not too long ago when we had Mr. Bigley in office, we did have a surge that went out to Vegas, and it was like 60 C-17s all within about an hour, which was just mind-blowing. So that's the kind of thing that we're watching for. Again, we do have a lot of helos up right now, which just popped up. So, okay. Now, let me see here. I'm going to hop over in just a second. I did have one aircraft of interest I was looking at earlier today. I'm not really sure. Started out down here in Tampa area, actually south of Tampa, down in Miami area. Went up here to the Panhandle, then up to southern North Carolina, and now it was headed down. It looked like I lost track of it, but it looked like it was headed down here to the Haiti, Dominican Republic area. That's one of your white birds. Typically, that's either going to be a senior super staff, U.S. Air Force, or sometimes we get them what they call the Terra, which is when they have a crisis, they will actually put a team on these white birds, and they'll go out and mitigate the issue, and that's a global kind of thing. So we'll continue to watch that and see if it pops back up on the board. But let's get over here real fast. The other item of interest were the volcanoes. Now, this has dwindled. This was up to 8 earlier today. You can see this one out here in the Japan area is blowing some serious ash right now, as you can see. Normally, we don't even see the ash cloud. All you see is the orange alert there. But earlier today, we actually had one firing in Russia and one over in Alaska, plus these. And so the volcano has been pretty active as of late. And so we'll keep our eye on also La Palma because that one is definitely, that's a game changer if that goes as well. So, all right. Now, let's get over here to Flashbang Schedule, and then we'll take a look at the TFRs. Today is Wednesday the 29th. Rolls out of bed around 9:30 a.m. and looks to disappear at around noon. So I don't see anything else on him. We got, let's see here. We got one of the peanuts that are doing their press briefing at 2 p.m. So, okay, there is that, and kind of non-eventful there. And okay, now over here to the TFRs, just kind of point out some things. We do have a hazard up here on the northeast coast. That's going to be a fire. We got a regular over the Brown Zone Senior Living Center. We got an air show there. These three yellows right here are actually going to be space operations. This one in the Panhandle is security. That one red right here is going to be Disney, which is a security TFR. Now we get over Texas. That's going to be George W. Bush. And there are a lot of times I get this question all the time. How come Trump does not have a TFR? He has to apply for it. And I think he does not have one because he moves around a lot and he doesn't want to give up his location. And so from a security perspective, they typically don't do that. So, the other presidents, they don't have them either, except for, most of them live up here in this brown zone. And so because of that, they just kind of fall under the umbrella of the security thing. So, okay. So that is just a data point. Now that is a security TFR also over Austin. One over here, that's a military base in the Panhandle. Same here, the Austin area. I think that's related to Fort Hood, but that is a security TFR over that. We do have one down here on the border, which is kind of regular, and there's an air show down there as well, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah, air show. I don't know why. This is like the third air show they have. Evidently, I don't know why we do those on the border like that. It just doesn't make any sense. But two of them, and you can see some weather moving through right now. There's McAllen, Brownsville, that area. Then you get up here Del Rio. Looks like they're also getting smacked right now with some weather. And looks like we are about to get smacked up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as well. Other than that, now this one here is up here by Albuquerque. That is an air show also, just FYI. These are fires right here. And then this one down here in the San Diego area is also an air show. So it's never ending. Never ending. All right. So let me back out of that. Let's kind of move on over. One of the things I wanted to point out, which, you can always tell when it's an election year for somebody because they actually start to do what the people want them to do. And so it looks like Abbott is actually putting the Texas National Guard down on the border. I have confirmed that with my Texas National Guard contacts. I will tell you they're going down there for about 4 months. And many of them are already headed down that way. Some of the others are kind of being staggered going down. The reason he is doing this is not because of the current situation, but the situation that is coming, which is actually, if you watch the last sit rep, we've got about 20,000 more Haitians coming up. They say that they've got eyes on them in Panama, which is about 4,000. And then they've got another 15,000 or so down in South America, which is, I guess, in the Colombia area. And then those guys will be moving on through as well. So they're just waiting to get the boat across, I guess, is what they were saying. So there is that. All right. And so we've got another 20,000 Haitians inbound. Okay. All right, let's move on from that. But that looks like a little bit of good news. I'm glad to see that somebody's got the cojones to actually do what they're supposed to be doing and standing up to them. So Texas does not need anyone else. We can stand on our own if we have to. So the fact that we put our National Guard down there, I think, is a good thing. And hopefully the rest of the United States will benefit from this. So, okay. Let's move on over to one of the air bases right there on the border, which is going to be Biggs Army Airfield. Now, this is a pretty hot location. You can see we do have a Swift 737-300 that's coming in. It's starting at 03:45 hours, so that's the wee hours of the morning. Now, interesting thing is actually these are showing PMs. That must be 3 p.m. tomorrow, but I don't know why they have a 0 in front of that. It always messes with me. So, nonetheless, though, 3:45 tomorrow, coming out of Yuma, Arizona, which is really interesting because that is it's a proving ground. It's a military installation. So I don't know who would be coming out from that location unless we're starting to store people there as well. But let's go over here and look at the arrival board and just see what else we have. The things that stand out when I go through these, a lot of these are trainer flights. The ones that stand out for me are when I see actually aircraft type in here. So that's what we're looking for, okay, as you kind of go down. Now, this is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's just basically the last 3 days. You can see we did our sit rep on Monday. We saw this one that went to Guantanamo Bay. We'll talk about that one here in just a minute. And then, of course, we've got this. This is an Atlas Air 767 that arrived from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And if we pull the thread on that one and go look at where it came from, I want to say it was overseas. Let me just double check here. I don't try to roll my screen down. I did the wrong thing. Sorry. Yeah, it came in from Frankfurt. So, yeah, that probably had poppies on it. I'll be honest with you. So it looks like we got some more poppies in motion as they're heading into our country. It looks like that this week is starting to hit that the new push, the new phase. So we will probably see a significant uptick because I do think they had another 40,000 coming in, if I read the numbers right. Maybe more. All right. Okay, so that's going to be Biggs, kind of what's going on there for today. Now, this was Biggs last night, and I thought it was kind of interesting because I was watching this flight take place. It was late at night, actually 9, and it wrapped up around almost 10:45 at night. But we had 2 helos out running search patterns. This is El Paso, Fort Bliss. They were up here in this general area. I say running search patterns. For a helicopter, that's a search pattern. Okay, so for an aircraft, it's a little bit more organized, and they run a certain grid when they're doing a search usually. And so this is a good helo search pattern. You can see they just about stalled out airspeed wise, not altitude, but just kind of hovered for a little while. That's this right here, that dip in the yellow line. So that's when they're slowing down and looking. Okay. Yellow line's airspeed, green line's altitude. Okay, so that was one of the helicopters, and then here was the second one. Also, again, this is about 18 hours ago. Wee hours in the morning. 10:45 at night was when they wrapped up. You can see same area working together, and then this one came in to this area as well working. So I don't know if we've got some folks, probably, if I had to guess, that have gotten across the border and are rolling through the mountain hill area there. Okay, so that's our cool little helo activity going on overnight while you were sleeping. And then this is the one that we actually tracked. It went to Guantanamo Bay. I'm going to talk a little bit about this because this is it's flying under this different name set, which is I'll show you here in just a minute, but it rolled in as a CMB 535 as the tail number or the registration. It is actually tied to National Air Cargo Group, and it's currently en route heading overseas. So this is going to get some poppies. I'll bet my life on it. Okay, but you can see it was down here in Guantanamo Bay. Then it went over to Robbins. Then from Robbins, it took off. It went up took a little gander up there to Canada. And then from Canada, it's over to Iceland, and now it's headed across the drink. And so this is the one that was at Guantanamo Bay. All right. And so I don't know where this headed. It's over Dublin right now, headed down into Europe. So we'll see where he stops. Keep track of him. But this flight is actually flying under the U.S. Transportation Command. Okay. And so I just wanted to point that out. As you can see, they move everything from ships to aircraft to cargo stuff, passengers. It's all over, airlift, sea lift, whatever it may be. If something's moving in the military, it's kind of tied underneath these guys. Okay, all right. So to kind of explain why they're using them and what it kind of falls under and why we see them using charters, I just want to back into this because for those who have been following me for a long time, I talk about it, but I've never really gone into detail about what this actually means, what it's called, why they do it. And so just to kind of break it down, it's a Civil Reserve Air Fleet, okay? And they basically, it's a voluntary program involving the DOT, DOD, and U.S. civil air carrier industry, okay? They use this capability during a national defense-related crisis. So when you see them utilizing these, it's called the CRAFT program. It started in 1951, but that is what it is flying under and why they continue to use it, and why you see charters being used and being called out with kind of the national aircraft call signs, right? So a perfect example, here's one right here. This is a 747. It is again national air. It's a N952CA rolling. Let's see this. Let me get down here just a little bit. You can see came in from the UK in. Now that was, I'll bet money on it again, bringing poppies into our country. They have started it Tuesday. Came in from the UK, but started out at Ramstein Air Base in Germany and made its way over here to McGuire Lakehurst, which is where they're bringing the poppies in. Okay. Then from there, it went up to Chicago and up to Alaska. It's been around a little bit, but yeah. So when you see them flying under this call sign, you can kind of see what they're up to, and that's yeah. They try to kind of hide under that, so it's very interesting. But anyway, but this is how they kind of fall into this, where it looks like you're watching a different type of aircraft, military aircraft, because it's flying under that transportation command. And so anyway, all right, let me back that one up. We'll see where these end up going, but it looks to me like we are starting to kick in to poppy mode again. Okay. All right, over to Del Rio, where this is where we've been processing a lot of folks through in terms of both coconuts and bananas. All right, and so as we kind of see here, this is Tuesday, just this week for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We talked about, we met on Monday. We talked about these things. So you see these 767-300s arriving. Let's see here. These were arrivals from El Paso. But I will show you, Omni Air is actually one that has been frequently flying over to Haiti. Okay. And so, and you'll see some of those flights when we get over to Port-au-Prince and the others. But let me see on departures if we've got anything that is showing anything going to Haiti. Looks like El Paso's, and these are all, I mean, you can see them stacked up. So yesterday and today, that's 4 flights right out of the gate. El Paso, Fort Worth Alliance. Boy. Okay. But there's that. Now, if I go over here to Omni on the board, which is interesting, they are hiding their flights. Again, data point, just like the one we saw go into Guantanamo Bay that they wiped from the board, they are also doing that here. They're not really showing it. So if I go in and say I want to look at all the Omni Air International flights that are up, I got one that shows up on here, when I actually, in fact, show them flying into Port-au-Prince and to the other Haiti locations. So I'll show you that in a minute. And then we'll take a look at the other airlines as well here in just a second. So, but that's Omni, again, hiding their stuff. And this is actually Laughlin coming out of Del Rio. And it looks like they're moving people back and forth across the locations again. Okay. Clearly, that is what we're looking at as a process that they have been utilizing, because we see them do the same thing. When we had all the bananas coming in, they were basically moving them across the borders and then pushing them into the country on other flights. Okay, so I imagine, probably put a wristband on them that said, this is your location where you're headed. Here's an envelope full of money. And then when you get to the next destination, you'll get on this flight, and that's how they separate them. Okay. All right. So this is going to be Capitan, I guess. I know I'm not saying that right, but this is Haiti. This is the alternate location, which is Capitan is in this part, and then Port-au-Prince is actually over here. You can see POP here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But these are the 2 different airports they're bringing people back to. Just to show you, it looks like we've got Global Crossing Airlines coming out of Laredo that arrived there today on an Airbus 320. And let's see, this one's going to be that's Spirit. That's probably not, because that's Lauderdale. It's just a regular flight. But this is Swift Air. We know that's not. That came out of Laredo. And then this is another Swift Air, came out of Valley or Harlingen, Texas. Those were all today coming in. And now, of course, they clear the board as the day goes on. We've watched them do that for a long time. Now, these are the ones that are scheduled or en route. You can see, let me see who this one, Treasure Coast, none of these. Yeah, those don't really work good on that part. Looks like they went back, so these are round robining. All right, let me hit more. I just want to see if we've got any other flights These are all today, Wednesday. Yeah, it looks like Laredo, 2 from Laredo, 1 from Valley, and then this other one. So it looks like we got another carrier, Global Crossing Airlines, that's getting in on the immigration get rich scheme. Okay. All right, this is a great stimulus package for airlines. I got to tell you, all these little smaller airlines like this, they just don't last because their operating costs are too high. They just can't, ever get to the level of the other airlines. They just can't compete. And their maintenance and stuff, their programs, it buries them, and you'll see them pop up and then they just die out because they just can't get off the ground. But if you're providing a service to the agencies and getting government dollars, then boy, that's a good way to get that revenue up. So that's what we see going on here. All right, now here's Port-au-Prince again as we kind of get into what came in today. Let me see if we got a Laredo. That's Eastern Airlines. That's looks like Eastern is getting in on it. We've got World Airways. We know they're already in on it. That's Valley. Let me see, another World Airways, quite a few. So that's just crazy. The Omnis were on there earlier today, and now they are not showing. So why would they be taking the Omnis off the board? That is the $1 million question. That is nuts. Well, there you have it. I don't know what happened to all the Omni flights, but they were there. I assure you. Because I looked at them and I pulled them and ran them and copied them and there they go. So, all right. Well, that's going to be Port-au-Prince. Looks like we still have some flights coming in, even though we don't really show much. So that tells you that they are all still out being processed and held in some facilities somewhere, hotels or whatever it may be, and then they are being processed out. But again, we do know that over 70% of them are actually in our country and that only 30% are actually the ones being processed out. So, all right, now this is going to be your live Swift Air. I will tell you it's starting to quiet down a little bit, but this is, you can see the flights, Mexico to an unknown destination. I guess that's Manifest. They're probably traveling in time. Brownsville to Phoenix, Brownsville to Miami. So those Brownsville flights more than likely are carrying folks to these destinations. And then this one here looks like Chavez International. That, I don't know. That's probably Mexico headed into Miami. Okay. All right. Now, let me just show you the board earlier today. If we get over to the Swift flight from earlier today, you can see it was still pretty chock full. And same thing. You've got a lot of flights. Brownsville headed into Guatemala. You've got Valley into San Diego, which that's taking folks from Valley to San Diego. Okay, so, and then we've got another Mexico flight to Miami, or actually that looks like that's going to be the island down there, Dominican Republic. And then we've got McAllen headed into Guatemala, Laredo into Haiti. Let's see. All right, that I think is the main ones from that perspective. And then this is the World Airways flights rolling out of Valley earlier today over to Port-au-Prince. And we'll take a look here in just a second as well on the Valley flights. See if World Airways has got anything else up currently right now. It looks like they're actually coming back from that. So you can see this one coming out of Port-au-Prince. Again, the Omni flights, they wiped them. So go figure. That's very interesting. I don't understand why they do that. Well, I do. I understand that they do it because they want to hide them from us. They don't want us seeing them and tracking them. So, all right, now this is actually Camber. So I was tracking. These are the flights where I tell you that we were just talking about that fall into that program where there's civilian flights being basically pulled under the umbrella of the DoD or DOT or whoever they may be supporting. And so these are all of the flights that are currently active in air as we speak around the world. So these are going to be national airways, like the one we saw earlier. Instead of looking at an N number, you're just going to have this Camber flight. It's a 747-400, some 6.7s, 5.7s, a couple 6.7s. But you can see this is where it gets kind of interesting because notice you see their origin, but there is no destination. So they are not broadcasting where they're going. Okay. And so you got them leaving out of Kuwait. We got 2 flights out of Kuwait. We've got another one here, which is Another air base. I don't even know where that is. And then this one here also, that's the one we were just looking at coming out of Iceland, headed over to the UK or Europe, somewhere in there. And then this one actually originated out of Baltimore, Washington. So it does look like, if I had to guess, these folks are, as we roll into this general area, we know what's down here. We know what's up in Frankfurt here. All right, and that's poppies. So they are picking up more people, all right, and processing them in. And you will see the flights start to come back into Baltimore and McGuire and that whole area over the coming days and weeks, okay, because it looks like they're getting ready to start moving them again. Okay, now let's get over here to Guantanamo Bay. Talking about that last couple days. Now, I have not seen any more flights come in that would indicate they are bringing folks to that location, although unless you catch them actually in the act, I think they're being wiped, just like that last flight where we did see the Camber flight come in, and it basically disappeared. It's not on the board. We can look here on the board. You can see it is not there, okay? What we do have for today was our little N631JS. That's a regular Tuesday, Friday flight. And then this United Airline flight out of Jacksonville, which is not kind of a normal flight, but I do know they're wrapping up one of the 9/11 hearings right now this week. And so that's probably what that has tied to, okay? All right, now if we get into a couple specifics, just looking at the Swift Airs, you can see this one's rolling out of Texas. That was at 6:45 this morning, rolled into Haiti at 11:27. And then you can see this thing has just been going back and forth to Haiti. That's a regular flight now. Looks like they picked up that leg Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so here's another Swift Air flight. Again, 2 hours, 51 minutes long. Landed 2 hours, 51 minutes ago. Haiti back to Harlingen. So that's another flight that's actually coming back. Yep. Still working it. And this one, Guatemala City to Brownsville. So I don't know, honestly, if they're flying people in right now versus letting them mix it up as they come. I can't imagine what it would be like trying to, just having all those different nationalities rolling up here to the border through Mexico and through all of these Central American countries. I don't know how well they get along, but I also don't know whether or not they're flying people in or flying people out. Okay, knowing our government, I'd say they're flying them in, save them the walk. If we're going to pay for them for the life anyway, you may as well just go ahead and pick them up and bring them on in. What's an extra couple $100 on an air ticket, right? So let's see here, and then this one, last one I wanted to look at here is actually going to be our sniffer. For those not familiar with that again is it's a nuke sniffer, or kind of a dirty bomb sniffer, I guess you would call it. But it basically flies around taking air quality samples, and basically collects the data at different altitudes and areas, really looking for any type of anomalies, if there's any kind of nuclear particles or whatever it may be in the air. And so this one looks like it is coming back down from Reading, Pennsylvania, and that's actually it's coming in as we speak. So that's real time. All right. And back into the brown zone. So this guy's been pretty active lately. He's been flying a lot. Usually you'll see him run along this water area here, and that's because, in my opinion, it has to do with Club K's or some kind of threat like that, where they bring it in on a barge or get something in here in a container, and that area right there makes it very volatile to that type of a terrorist attack. So, all right, let's get back over here to our map real fast as we wrap up. And see if we've got any indication where they're going. They look to be landing here in Denver. And so, yeah, that's what it looks like to me, because we've been watching these things stack up. So it looks like they're coming out of California into Denver. That could be a temporary spot. And again, that's a looking glass. It's an E6. It's an airborne command center that basically handles all the like ICBMs and things like that. It's kind of like Night Watch in a very similar nature. And then this is a Sentry, which is an airborne air traffic control, but also does some of the other fun spyware stuff. That's another E6 just landed Those not familiar with the E6, this is kind of what the bird looks like. It's a white bird, obviously. My screen is all white, but there you have it. And so that's an E6. All right. Okay. Now let's just double check here and we will wrap up. Looks like these sentries are still avoiding some weather, but headed. That one looks to be headed down towards the border again. Notice we don't have a lot of trainers up. So I don't know why these guys come out here and just hang around. I usually thought, or at least I initially thought, that these guys were helping out with the trainer traffic, because you'd have, 60 or 70 trainers that look like up in the air just across this whole area, and having these guys out here kind of helping out air traffic control would be ideal, you would think. But when they're still up doing their thing and there aren't any trainers up, that maybe indicate that they are doing stuff other than, which again, they can do cell tower tracking and all the other fun stuff. Okay. Let me see. That's our little spy craft. Looks like he's running back up the border. So doing a little border run. Okay. And let me see if we still have all these helicopters up over the East Coast, and it's looking like that has dissipated a little bit. Oh, no, it hasn't. Lordy. Okay, yeah, it definitely hasn't. So, yeah, got a lot of them. East Coast wise is popping right now, so I don't know what's happening, but pretty active for this time of day, knowing that it's already 8 o'clock at night there. So, all right, we'll keep our eye on this. If anything weird starts happening in the middle of the night, or this stuff starts to increase, I will I'll come back on and do another sit rep. Okay. All right. Until then, I will see you guys on Friday. So be safe out there. Stay frosty. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeywerxus.com.